Sloss and Humphries on the road.
Muggins and Cream, Cream and Muggins, straight thuggin', living the dream.
That's our intro.
Fucking muggles.
Tickling the clit inside your head that makes you laugh. They said it can't be done.
Doing that instead of clapping.
I mean, it's a good start. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
I think we've had a couple of whiny podcasts, so we should probably start off with some gratitude.
Aye, I mean, we're in Florida.
Yeah.
There's a place to be happy.
Yes.
I have got one or two things to whine about, but
we'll get there. I think
we've got to do it in good humour, because you would have been howling if what happened to you today happened to anybody else.
Absolutely, 100%.
If somebody paid for fast track and then the ride broke down just as they got to the front of the queue and they were there for an hour.
Because that is capitalism karma. That is.
We deserved that.
Absolutely, 100%.
The smugness as we went past that queue.
Oh, you mean past the scum?
People. Like, you know how much of a fucking race traitor I am
Man.
when I walk past that non-queue jumper queue.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. If it wasn't happening to me, it's the funniest thing in the world, because rich, spoiled people thinking they deserve better treatment because they can afford it.
They've got more of the tokens that you get for working hard. Even though the people in the queue work harder than us.
At real jobs. Real jobs.
Like,
I guarantee
the cogs of society turning.
We were queue jumping doctors, we were queue jumping nurses, we were queue jumping like fucking
teachers.
Oh, teachers, police officers. That
have saved up.
I don't think we skip past any military, because America obviously has that thing of like, hey, we love our military, not to the point where we'll give you any mental health treatment, any. I was about to say
we won't keep you off the streets.
I was about to say no pension, but military pensions are legit. I'll shut my mouth when I've done all that stuff.
You know, I've brought a towel on the podcast to dab my brow.
Aye.
Florida heat.
Just in case I say anything offensive. I do declare.
I can start wearing pearls and I clutch them.
The cotton stocks have not been fine this summer. And I got to tell you, I think it's the new step. I don't know why I then went from slave owner to
slave. Like the slave getting really invested in the cotton stocks. Like, really fucking, man, I'm working hard on this. I might not be getting paid, but I'm committing to my job. Yeah, I've because I don't know about you, but you know, if you work out, do you not have to have like a good 45 minutes before you stop sweating?
Yeah, if I'm doing...
And 45 minutes is maybe an exaggeration, but I knew I had a podcast to do and I had a shower way before I'd stopped sweating.
Yeah.
And then you come out of the shower and you just keep on sweating.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, the one thing I've always hated about workouts, and this is absolutely a sign of getting older, right? And I've felt this way my entire life. I felt this way when I played football. I felt this way when I fucking played rugby. See warm-ups and cool-downs. Don't waste my fucking time. I'm not warming up to do something that's going to warm me up, and I'm not cooling down when I can just chill, was my attitude forever. And then obviously not now, but when I get home, when I go through my Peloton phases, I'm the same. I sweat for half an hour afterwards. And if I just did what Peloton recommends, or sorry, not even Peloton, any person who understands how the human body works, they're like, hey man, once you've done excess amount of exercise, just stretch your muscles a bit, let your body cool down, regulate your breathing. And I'm like, no fucking way. Immediately done.
You're there like, I'm not going to preheat the oven. Like, the oven's going to be hot anyway. Yeah. I'm just going to put the food in and can heat up with the oven. That's you, but with your own body.
Yeah.
You got fucking partially cooked chicken as a body.
Also, look, I'm not a scientist, right? There's got to be faster ways to preheat at the moment. There's no way.
I still don't understand the preheating of an oven. Like, what I just said is a joke there. Like, surely putting your food in while the oven gets hot.
No, because at different temperatures, chemicals and foods react in different ways, which is the difference.
So it's got to be like thrown into the hot oven.
Yeah, aye. Like
it can't be casually, slowly warmed up. What happens is bacteria breed or something.
Oh, I'm not. Well, it obviously depends on what you're cooking, but I imagine like bread needs to go into a hot fucking thing so that it's into that temperature. It reacts. If you were to put bread in,
if I'm just eating like salmon and Mediterranean veg on a tray, just put it in for 25 minutes instead of waiting 5 minutes and then putting it in. Like, I'm not gonna because I trust the process.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the process.
I just feel like there should be what preheating an oven should be now is there should be 2 like mini flame throwers, and all you scientists being like, that is what an oven is, you fucking idiot. I mean like a jetpack, like flamethrower, so that preheating the oven isn't just them going, oh, we're going to warm it up as fast as we'd normally warm it up. We're going, right, we're going to drop a mini A-bomb in here. Like, it's going to get 0 to 500 in 0.1 second, and then we'll stop for a bit, and we'll let it get into 220, and then you can stick in the pizza.
Aye. But you are the most impatient man on the planet. I'd struggle to think of a more impatient person than you know.
Depends on the context.
Anything where you've got to wait for like a millisecond.
If I'm waiting because of someone else's incompetence, absolutely I'm impatient. Because and watch me defend this by claiming I'm empathetic, right? I'm empathetic. So when I see you doing your job shitty, I go, oh, I wonder how good I'd be in that job. And then I go, way better. This is how I'd do it. Everyone would be through this queue faster. Sure, it would be 10% less safe, right? There's probably, me doing airport security, I'm definitely upping the chances that there's a knife and a gun on that plane by 10%. Because if someone's taking too long, I'm like, I don't care, man. Fucking go through. But I'm not the person that's going to be there. I'm not going to be looking at a pregnant woman holding a child and go, can you take your shoes off? I'm going to go, darling, go through. Like, it's okay. Like, you're good. New Zealand airport, there was one time where we were already late through because the security was so fucking bad, and some bitch, and she is a bitch, went through my son's entire toy bag.
Oh, I remember.
And took it. And I was like, you're fired. You're never allowed to work in the public sector.
You owe me my fast track money back.
Oh, that's when I get...
Inefficiency. Anybody that's inefficient, you've got just a zero tolerance policy for inefficiency.
Yeah, I have patience for children. I've got all the time in the world for the disabled. Like, you put me in a conversation with someone, if you caveat, be like, you're about to talk to somebody that's not all there, I can talk to that person for half an hour, 45, if they've got, whether it's like their brain doesn't work fast enough that they can't get their thoughts out, whether they get distracted, maybe they got a stutter. I've got patience with all that stuff because I'm like, that's something you actually can't help. And if it's something that somebody cannot help, I am patient and understanding. Any other system where I'm like, the reason there is delay here is because someone who should be on universal credit because they're not smart enough to function in society, they don't have any...
Somebody could be doing this job.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? Just give it to an immigrant. They're going to do a much better job.
Give it to a goddamn
Immigrants, they get the job done. Hamilton reference you won't get.
What reference?
Hamilton.
No, I will.
Talking about patients for disabled people. I was, when we come through the Jurassic Park themed park of the Universal Studios Adventure, whatever it was, I got squirted by your son with a hose. Your man was aiming it.
Yeah.
And his son was pressing the button and he's laughing because I'm trying to dodge the water.
Yeah.
And then I get up there and he's pressing the button and I'm holding the thing. And this man, older man walks through slowly and I'm aiming it so Caleb can press the button and fire it at the old man, right? And the man looks less than pleased and he's asking us to stop.
Oh, yeah. But he's asking you to stop from 20 feet away, but 10 feet of height. So for him to come and actually confront you about what you're doing takes him a 2-minute walk to get to the area. Consequence-free bullying.
And you're walking through the water fight zone of the park, right?
Consequence-free bullying.
So I'm consequence-free bullying this man. It's like, stop. I'm like, oh, sorry, he's pressing the button. I'm aiming it. Chell's pressing the button. And then he was like, no, stop. My autistic son won't be able to come through unless the water stops.
Oh.
I was like, I thought you were just trying to not get wet.
Okay.
I thought you were trying to not get wet. And anyway, where is he? I didn't.
Where's that fucking gremlin? Let's see what happens when we make them wet.
That's how you make more autistic people. Just eggs stop popping out of them.
No, the way you create more autistic people is you go to a university party, like a bunch of university students at one of their drinking parties, and then just loudly talk about how you think that you might have autism or ADHD, and then watch 25 people under the age of 21 go, I also have autism. That's how you create.
Wait a minute. If you underline everything, you underline nothing. None of us have autism.
Yeah.
So yeah, I bullied Kara. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I accidentally bullied a Kara with your son as well, teaching him valuable life lessons.
Yeah. People at water parks, especially in like theme parks in Orlando, where every park you go to will have some form of like getting wet in it. Like, man, I get it. We live in a time of, I've got my mobile phone on me. I've got. They've also given me a paper card to get round the fucking park, which
wearing
is just
suntan lotion.
yeah.
Like, I really don't want to get wet right now, and then you get wet, and you're just like, fuck it, I'm wet. Let's just remember the joy of being a child and stomping in puddles. Because I went on a log flume with your dad.
You did,
It was really fun.
We got stuck in the so we went in and God, I mean, I know I say nice things about my wife on this podcast quite regularly, but fucking bless her, today we took a vegan to a steak restaurant today.
Yeah, she could not go on any rides.
No rides in Islands of Adventure is
All the fun rides have got no pregnant women.
Yep.
Or men.
No. There's no like little shows or anything that I think was in the other park. So it was literally paid to get my wife in.
To just stand in the heat.
To just stand
while
in the
pregnant.
Heat. Aye.
And like, because she can't go on any rides, she's the one that's got to be primary carer of the toddler.
Aye.
So like,
we got
fair play to the other day. Like, she had a high tolerance for it.
Oh yeah, she's good. But I did feel like,
but there's only so many times you can have a slushie and a pretzel.
Yeah, and also, man, that is Cara's scene. It's not like you took a loser who doesn't like roller coasters.
Yeah, my wife would have been with Cara while being perfectly able to go on any of the rides.
100%.
And she would have been with Cara going, fucking, what is this? Why not just stood in the heat?
Aye.
It could be sunbathing by the pool.
Yeah.
Although I think she would like some of them rides because they're an illusion of like the Hulk ride. It throws you around, right? You get blasted around the park. She doesn't want to be thrown around like that. It feels unsafe. Whereas a lot of them, like the Harry Potter one, like the Spider-Man one, like the King Kong one, they're like 3D imagery where you're all getting pumped around on a seat and I don't think you're actually moving. You're definitely not falling the height of the falling off the building in Spider-Man when he catches you with the web. It's just the feeling and the air pumping in your face. So it's just like a sensory version of it. She'd enjoy them, I imagine. I should tolerate them.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't get on that Hulk ride for anything.
Nah. So what you're saying is in the future when me and my family come over for Disney holidays, Natalie not.
She'd probably just hang by the pool reading a book while we spend $200 on queuing.
Yeah. I mean, she should.
That's how she would say it as well.
Oh, Cara was not. Cara, her northern working class came out today. She was like, I can't believe we've spent this much money to go. Now, to be fair, I get her point because she wasn't able to go on any rides. I spent an hour queuing for a ride that it didn't happen. Then chose to spend the rest of the day with my son. Galen had the goddamn time of his fucking life.
At the Whoville.
The Dr. Seuss, tiny little like water.
How much was he enjoying pulling that lever to cage you in the water?
No,
it's like the bird cage, but the bars on the cage are water, but you can turn it on and off with a lever. And you were in the cage, and then you pull the lever, and you'd panic.
My son,
perfection for a 2-year-old.
My son has weird standards when it comes to being wet. Like, so he's in his full clothes, right, shorts and a shirt and stuff. And like, if he gets a tiny bit wet on his clothes there, he's like, oh no, won't go into any of the stuff, doesn't want to get any wetter. But if you take him into the water park and you hold him under a waterfall for 2 seconds and he's wet, at that point he's like, oh, right, well,
I'm wet now. I've transitioned. I don't want to be partially wet, guys.
Yeah.
It's either wet play or dry play.
Yeah.
None of this damp play.
Damp play, yes. Damp play is not his scene at all, which I think is fair.
Yeah, well, I get it. You know, when I was in Perth and I used to bike ride everywhere in Australia, one time the skies just opened and for like a couple of minutes it was awful. You know, like hunched shoulders and just like, oh God, I'm fucking dressed for summer.
Right.
Then there was a point where I was like, you can't get it any more wet. And for the rest of that bike ride, it was just fun. Because it wasn't cold.
I know in the
Perth?
I know in the Aussie fucking heat.
Nah, like once you're fully wet, that's all right. It's that transitional period between dry and wet that sucks. And he's just onto that early.
Aye.
I think he's right.
I feel like it's so hard to gauge how shit Alton Towers is just because the rides there are really good. A lot of the rides at Alton Towers are.
Nemesis is good. Air is good.
Yeah.
What do you call that? Big Bertha or something? It's like a fucking fast one.
And the whole park, all of Alton Towers stinks of cum.
It's
I don't know if you remember that.
It smells of pipe cleaner. Like,
it smells of semen. It smells of semen.
You know what I mean? Like down the back of a pub when they've cleaned the pipes, it always smells of spunk.
Yeah.
Do you like them two smells?
Because I thought it was like a plant that they had around Alton Towers. Because I mentioned it to staff when I've not been there since I was about 21, but I remember saying to the staff,
Byron, you got a bit of spunk on your lips. Everything smells of spunk.
Jesus Christ! And for some reason, my fingers smell of shit. What is wrong with this theme park? Is it on the handles? Like, what's going on? Because, like, here's the thing. Like, Alton Towers and, like, Thorpe Park have good rides, but they
Queuing system sucks.
Queuing system sucks. And also, because it's the UK, there are 14 actually hot days of the fucking year. Whereas Orlando is hot.
Yeah, just cut about in your shorts.
Yeah.
Have a nice time.
And, like, you would never go to... You couldn't just go to Alton Towers on a whim because you are at the mercy of the weather gods. You can't be like, oh, we'll just go today. And you're like, oh, it's raining. Whereas if you lived in Orlando, you can be like, we got fuck all to do. We're Florida residents. You get discounts on the passes. You can get your annual thing. You can pop in. I don't know how much I would... Like, if you lived here, if you lived in Florida, how often do you reckon you would actually be getting
about the same amount of times me and you go to the Highlands and enjoy Scotland.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. However, anytime you had guests, like that's what was nice when I went to LA and me and Hammy went to the Star Wars Disney. Went to Disney mainly for Star Wars, and he was just chuffed because he'll take it because there's guests here, and he gets to show it off. He's like, I've got this on my doorstep. I can do this all the time. Do you though? Nah, just do it.
No, yeah. I mean, if I lived in Florida, I would get into golf so hard. I'd get into... I mean, it would be hard to not get into racism.
Oh, that is so weird, driving from Tampa to Orlando. Like, I couldn't work out whether the people in the houses you could see from the road were rich or poor. They were giving off very Langamore vibes. From Ozark, for anyone that didn't get the reference. Like trailer trash vibes, but looking at it, you're like, big house, plot of land.
Yep.
That would cost you fucking millions in the UK, but they just give out like redneck vibes. And I was like, I don't know if these people are rich or poor.
Well, I agree with you. I think it all comes down to the fact that and I've said this on the podcast before, Americans just cannot understand anything other than skyscrapers being built out of bricks. Like, every house that we drive past, you're like, you know why all of you die when there's a natural disaster, right?
Yeah. But is that why they build them that way, though? Because they're easier to rebuild? Is it like, oh, fuck, I've got to rebuild a brick house?
No, I think it's... I think
the natural disaster is going to take you out anyway.
I think it's American capitalism. I think it's like we could spend 8 months building this thing out of brick and steel and mortar and have it fully done, or we could throw up this thing in 2 fucking months with plywood and plasterboard. And you know what? If only 20% of homes are destroyed during a fucking hurricane, let's hope we're part of the fucking 80%.
Aye. It is. Yeah, because I felt like if the car broke down and you just went to one of them houses for help, they'd cock a shotgun.
Oh, it's
like that's how it felt. I don't know if that's just because I've been told how Florida is.
And for those people that might not know, I have avoided coming to Florida to do comedy for the longest time.
And it turns out the cities are liberal, like Texas.
Yeah. Because the problem with Florida is the part of America that America makes fun of, right? And America is the country that everyone makes fun of, right? So imagine like...
But it's the best climate.
Imagine being asked to date the person that the fat, ugly kid bullied. That's for the longest time.
Yeah, like if America's hanging shit on you.
Yeah, man. People are like, when are you coming to Florida? And I'm like, I'm never coming to fucking Florida because everyone in your country agrees that you're the worst part of an already quite shit country. Like, that's an insane thing. Tampa.
Impossible to eat healthy here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I got a sweet potato with my steak last night and they poured sugar on it. Genuinely.
Aye.
They poured sugar on. It was literally a sweet potato.
You can be healthy in LA because that's where all the skinny Jews are. And you can do it in New York because that's where all the skinny Jews are.
I don't understand how skinny Jews are a litmus test for fitness.
When have you ever seen a fat Jew?
I genuinely haven't. I can't say I have. Oh, is that rumbling? Is that one of the roller coasters?
Find me a single fat Jew, apart from that guy who stole all the jokes that was called the Fat Jew. Remember him from fucking like 8 years ago on Twitter? He was literally called the Fat Jew, big fat guy, top knot in his head, and was just one
Big hat, little hat on top of it.
And he was just a joke thief. Like, he just stealed other people's like internet content, posted on his own.
Right.
And there was a huge controversy around it at the time. That's the only fat Jew I can name. Edelman, skinny.
Or Shafia skinny.
Skinny. Mm-hmm. All the ones that I've seen the pictures of in Auschwitz.
On Daniel. On a public episode. Aye. I thought you did for the public episode.
Hey, look, at a time.
Okay, don't behind the £3 paywall.
Look.
I'm not saying.
At a time when everyone is being accused of anti-Semitism for any fucking reason, I think it's fine. I think now you could actually be legitimately anti-Semitic, but because there's so many people crying out anti-Semitism, and some of it is legitimate anti-Semitism,
Valid, really valid,
and some of it is absolutely not, and it's just a don't touch me, blah blah blah. This is an immune thing. Like, I feel like you could get.
You know what's like not helped as well? The cause of anti-Semitism is how self-deprecating Matt and Trey are in South Park and Sacha Baron Cohen, and it almost just feels like your friends are giving you a pass because you hear so many jokes coming from the Jewish comedians.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Like you get so many like jokes. It just feels like a hall pass.
Yeah.
That you can also join in, and then you're like, oh whoa, you cancan't.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing about Jews is because, for the longest time, the thing that I didn't understand about Judaism and Jew, and it was something that it wasn't a problem I had with Alex Edelman. I couldn't understand it. I just never understood the fact that like there's such a thing as ethnic Jews. Because there's no such thing as an ethnic Christian, right? There's no like, oh, I'm from this part of the world and it's part of my blood and my fucking history and all this. I mean, you'll find people in this part of the world like, I'm an ethnic Christian, and you're like, shut up, honky. You're a dumb cunt who's
what about,
read one book.
Christians from like Italy and Rome and that? Or do they consider themselves ethnic Christians? Or do they look at Christians like in America and just go, well?
No, because here's from my very limited understanding of like the ethnic Jew side of things, because of the Holocaust and because it was obviously such a concentrated effort to get rid of a large group of people. Like the reason there are Hasidic Jews is those are the ones, and for any Jewish listeners, feel free to correct me on all parts of this. When they went to like New York and when they like fled Germany, when they fled Europe for any form of fucking safety from the literal genocide that was going on, they had this thing of like, okay, well, we can't trust the rest of the world because the rest of the world has hated us for 2,000 fucking years at this point, because half of these Christians think we killed Jesus, despite the fact that, by the way, King of the Jews, we love the guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's, that it became like, we're going to preserve this culture and who we are. And again, man, I imagine like when anyone in your life actually, in terms of like being a fucking Holocaust survivor, I don't think you ever shed that, and I think that is absolutely like generational trauma that you just understand. Yeah, 100%. Knowing what happened. So, and Christians haven't really gone through that. Muslims probably have, in things that I've just not been educated on. Same with Sikhs and Buddhists. I imagine that, I guess the atrocities committed on mass amounts of those people, I just wasn't fucking educated on. But like, what you do, you find Jewish people who do not believe in God or whatever, but it's who they are.
But the wedding has to be
their partner has to convert to Judaism. They can't. They will not eat bacon.
And that's because your family's like putting that pressure on you to do that, even if you don't practice the religion. You still have a family obligation to follow the.
And the hard Jews with a hard W, those are the ones that are like, they'll ostracize anyone that does anything like non-Jewish. And that, don't get me wrong, that absolutely exists in like Mormon culture and Christian.
Yeah, and Jehovah's Witnesses, yeah.
Yeah, but I just think,
I'm glad I was raised without any pressure of religion. Like, I'm thankful for that. I've got a gratitude for like not being forced into a specific way of thinking or way of acting or way of living. And
were your parents?
Nah. Yeah, you know what? You know, when I went to my nana's house, my mum's mum, she had like religious stuff about the house, like crucifixes up and stuff. Like
child porn.
Yeah. Shut up. All that. But like I never had to pray over a meal. I went to a Catholic school. Do you know that?
I think so.
You know, because I moved schools.
Yeah.
And I think we've spoke about it fairly recently, actually, about how like mass just happened and I was just there. Like, they were like, I wasn't getting the bread and I wasn't getting the wine, but like they were praying before class, but I just didn't join in on any of it, just because I moved schools, and some of my mates from football were there, so I moved to that specific one without being Catholic.
Aye.
That was odd.
Yeah, because I forget how.
I was only there for one semester.
Yeah.
I've been in America for 3 weeks.
I don't have any friends, I don't think, that are legitimately Christian. You do. You've got loads of mates that are not proper God buggerers, but
like what I was telling you about when you've got God kids, but you've never been to a single christening yet. But you're honorary God kid.
Yeah.
I actually had to go to the service for my God kids and get the.
Yeah, you're an actual one. I'm on fucking tissue paper. God, Dad.
You're a godfather in the same way Gareth's married. He's been with his wife for 12 years.
Yeah. Well, and they are engaged.
They are engaged now, yeah. And I'm really glad as well, because it felt like after you got married and there was like a sequence of Matty got married, a sequence of marriages with my friends, and it felt like the last haul, because you're looking around going, Elliot's not going to get married, Tom's not going to get married. Is there anyone left to get married? Out of our friendship group, or we're just in an age now where we've got to wait for the kids to grow up and go to their weddings?
I think there'll still be stuff to happen. Barry's not married.
Do you think they'll get married?
They're kidding the way you do. Well, I mean, look, it's different times, but here's the thing: like, as much as I'm like, it's different times, you don't need to be married to like prove your love for each other. You don't need like a government certificate to define your relationship. But in terms of when you've got a kid, you absolutely need a government mandated bit of fucking paper.
Just so you can travel, your wife can travel with your child without getting questioned for abduction.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't think my brother was going to get married. He's been married 2 years now, but like him and his wife were very much just like, I don't need to fucking sign a document to prove I love this person. But then they had kids and were just like, let's just do something.
Just do something like slightly less.
You know, if you get married and have a prenup, I feel like that just don't get married then. If that's the case.
Well, Marlena mentioned it once to me before getting married to Cara, and it wasn't.
So our agent for everybody. That's.
She was like, "You doing a prenup?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, under no circumstance." And I know there's people out there that are going to be like, "You're a fucking idiot, and you're this and you're that." And like, cool, you don't love your wife, man.
Yeah, you know, like I'd want Natalie to have what she deserved from the breakup.
Well, it's also like, yes, but look, I mean, the people that are screaming at the podcast now being like, that's not how it works. You've no idea why your relationship will fall apart. And like, obviously divorce is a messy thing. And, you know, that your partner can be jilted and upset by something that you've done in your relationship. And they'll take it out on you on the other side, and I'm like, cool, valid argument. I'm not marrying a spiteful person. I've never seen an ounce of spite from my wife. And with again, I already have a wife that will not spend our money. The only reason I am able to earn what I earn.
She'll not spend it now when you're married.
Yeah, despite the fact that...
Without you really pushing the issue.
And again, I constantly have to remind my wife off of this. And it's...
Communism works between two people.
But, man, it's our money.
When you start broadening it where it fucks up.
That's what this is. It's we're in this together. This is you and me against the world. This is you and me against our kid when they're being shit. The thing one of the many things I love about fucking Cara, and we've both stuck to it really well so far. I know we're only 2 years into parenting, and we've not got to like the difficult part yet in terms of like kid giving you attitude,
and also the other one on the way in the juggling it when you've got.
I said to her, I'm like, it is always you. It's you and me and the kids versus the world. Or worst case scenario, it's you and me versus the kids. Always a fucking united front. I never say to my son, ask mum, or mum says no, or it's like no.
We've decided, even though the discussion was led by her, 90%.
Oh, and I'll have made
that's our decision because we've both agreed on that decision.
Yeah. And even though the thing that you wanted to do, I was fighting your corner for it. I'm not going to tell you that I was fighting your corner because we are a united front, and that's just what we are. Like across, just across. I would not have the life I have and be able to do this if she was not such an unbelievably strong anchor at home. And man, fucking the sacrifices, Cara, I know she won't see them as fucking sacrifices because
I mean, even just today at the theme park, sacrifices she made because it had to be her body, not yours.
Yeah. It wouldn't even fucking register to her that she had to, take the shitty side of that fucking stick.
It would be nice, wouldn't it, if you could like take one of the pregnancies?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
We'd have one kid.
Oh,
if that was the fucking deal.
You wouldn't? Because like that cannot be right. This isn't me being woke. If anything, this is me being a hard bloke, alpha fucking macho. Like, I'll do it. Like, if I could take pregnancy for Natalie, I would do it.
If I was
like, I think it totally sucks that they have to fucking like, regardless, they have to take all of the burden of pregnancy.
I can't believe Cara doesn't ask me / demand that I eat her box like once every 3 days. Because if I was fucking pregnant, if I was the one carrying a grow baby inside of me, I would genuinely be like, I want a blowjob now. Why? Because of this. Because of this. So I get 3 minutes.
This is the difference between men and women. This is how basic I'm being. They have to feel sexy, man. I don't have to feel sexy to get a nosh.
Yeah, I
genuinely don't have to feel sexy to get sucked off. Like, I feel like she'd have to feel sexy.
100%. My wife is obviously, to me, is just one of the hottest people on the planet. Not the hottest, I'm not delusional, but to me, man, I've got a fucking unbelievably fit wife.
Fancying your partner is really important, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm the same as you. I fancy the fuck with Cara. I fancy the fuck with my wife.
But she's not.
I think that's really important.
Yeah, and Cara, understandably, does not feel sexy when she's pregnant, but just because of the toll it takes on your body. Now, and she'll never believe me. One, me and Cara just have two separate love languages. I'm a complimenting person. I like telling her because
words of affirmation.
Because that's why I need this person. I need constant affirmation, right? That's something that I need in my job. That's something I need in fucking relationships. Like, if I seem like like somebody that's not insecure, it's because I'm being told I'm great all of the time. Whereas like with her, even when I'm like, and this is going to sound fucking like scripted and like this fucking woke bullshit. If you love your partner, there is something really, really hot and sexy about them being pregnant. Now, and it's not in like a carnal, like, oh, I've got to have you, like, I want to fuck this pregnant body, like, it turns me on.
But then she's carrying my child. Is it the...
Oh, man, it's 100% sacrifice. It's watching, like, you are a family unit, you're a cohesive unit, and you've decided as this little nucleus that you're going to expand it. And what it costs on your end is a cum. That's what it costs on your end.
Did a sex way.
Yeah. But on her end, it's just so much more. And look, man, she feels like she fucking complains all the time. I'm sure most pregnant women feel like they fucking complain all the time.
She rarely does.
Nah.
She rarely does. There's once or twice, and it's like, and it's been when I've asked her. It hasn't been like, she hasn't put a complaint on it. I've drawn a complaint out of her, and she's like, she's revealed how she feels upon questioning.
Yeah.
She's not going about making a scene about it. Which is saying something, like, as I would be fucking making everyone's life a misery.
I would like, even in the months where I wasn't showing, I would be walking around like those people at Disney where they've got it's my birthday, it's my anniversary, it's my this, it's my that, it's my, I just got a fucking promote. I would, from the second I pissed on that stick and it was like pregnant, I would be like, pregnant, treat me better than everyone else around me. Mm-hmm. But
give up your seat.
Yeah, oh man,
Carry my stuff.
I'd use it for fucking. I'd use it for everything. Also, I imagine it is hard to like feel as a pregnant person, feel sexy and even want sex because like just it's all happening down there. Mm-hmm. Like it's all happening in there. Like if my cock constantly felt like it was about to either fall off, explode, catch fire.
Occasional discharge.
Yeah. If it was, there would be 2 minutes of every hour where I'm like, is my dick bleeding?
Mate, I'd be showing me cock all the time. I'd be like, mate, you see me cock?
I would, maybe in those circumstances, I'd be like, maybe I don't want a blowjob if I'm bleeding out all the time. But I would just be like, get a blowjob with a condom on. I still want.
Did I tell you about when I had thrush and I showed the cleaner at Concordia? I was like, I didn't know what it was. My cock was red raw. Mm-hmm. And the cleaner, like, and a woman about like 20 years older than me, she just went, go on, then gives a look. I sure that my cock was red raw. She was like, that's thrush that. I'll pop over at the shop and get you some kind of some duo.
Are we Cranbridges as well?
She went out of the shop, she got us a can of duo, and then got an announcement over the tannoy that my thrush treatment was at reception.
Good,
and fucking Carol. Got it announced over the tannoy.
Carol. That's exactly how that should be done every single time.
I think I was like...
With one hand I giveth, and with the other...
I was putting the badminton nets on. I was putting the badminton nets on. It was like, Kai Humphries, contact reception, Kai Humphries, contact reception, and then just the pauses. The receptionist was thinking whether she should go ahead with it or not.
No. That was her pausing while she sniggered off my reception to Kai Humphries. It's a medical emergency. Is your
fucking thrush cream?
Your fanny thrush cream is here.
You know you can get thrush of the mouth. It comes up in white spots. I've never had it.
Aye?
Just now people that have. Thrush on your tongue. What is thrush? I think it's like a yeast imbalance. I'm not a doctor.
Want me to Google it?
But I think you can get it from bad hygiene. I think you can get it from not washing your cock after sex. You know, if you have morning sex and then going into work. You've just gone all day.
Here's a question for you. Okay, right. So thrush is yeast infection, a fungal infection typically in the skin or mucous membranes caused by Candida, which is how my son says Canada. Oral thrush, cutaneous Candida infection of the skin and nails caused by, oh my God, Jesus. Here's a question for you. And it's, I guess it's like a fucking moral question. I don't feel hugely comfortable about asking this, so I'll keep the details to a minimum.
Asking for a friend.
Years and years ago, back in my single days, I had a fuck buddy like in a specific area of the world. Like someone, whenever I was there, I would bang this person, and it was you just agreed like, hey, we're not doing long distance because we don't like each other in that way.
It's not legal outside of Thailand.
She, and I say this with full empathy, and I don't say this in a bullying way. She's one of the smelliest vaginas I've ever experienced, to the point where, like, the second you took the pants off, smelled it.
Halitosis of the groin.
Yeah. Coochie, bad coochie breath, real bad coochie breath. And as someone
Is that a hygiene thing? Because she probably washes it. That just might be how she smells, and that'd be like, it's such a big insecurity.
she was one of the cleanest people I have ever met in my life. She would shower.
So straight out of the shower, it's got a funk to it.
Oh man! Man. There is just a thing of, like, there is a condition which just, whether it's yeast, whether it's something else, fucking stinks. I did not, and I think looking back, I fucking regret this, because I think a better person would have. I just don't know how you do it. I absolutely should have been like, hey, friend to fucking friend here.
Well, right. I don't know, you know.
No.
What can she do? She can't do much about it, can she?
Yeah, she absolutely can. Oh, absolutely, man.
Creme fresh?
No, there's
creme fresh.
There's pills. There's doctors, man. If you were to mention it too,
do you think it's like what we're talking about a couple of podcasts ago about you can't smell your own house?
Absolutely, I think it's that. Or because she was a heterosexual woman, she doesn't.
I reckon if I had a smelly cock, I would know that I had a smelly cock.
Not if that was the smell of your cock the entire time. And again, you're not smelling other cocks to compare it. She was a heterosexual woman, right? She's not eating box.
She just thinks that's what.
Yeah, how's she gonna know that other pussies don't fucking smell like that? Like, I mean, it's a legit fucking thing. And like, and me personally, as much as I would probably still be thinking about it to this fucking day. If a girl to me early doors was like, your cock fucking stinks, I would hate it, but I would be super grateful.
I'd be like, your attitude stinks. You'd be grateful if someone told you your cock stinks and you could act on it.
Yeah, because here's the other side of the thing where I did do a good thing. There was a girl I was seeing for a while, and while playing with her breasts one day, I felt a lump. And it was the first time we'd ever had sex. Like, we'd been on a couple of dates, and then we'd sex, and while feeling her tits, there was a fucking lump in there.
Was it actually? Did you?
I didn't know. I didn't say anything at the time, right? I just I was like, okay. We ended up obviously having sex, spending the next morning together, having fucking breakfast and stuff. And I was living with Jean at the time, and me and Jean would always have debriefs after dates and after fucking nights out and whatever. And I mentioned it to her, and Jean was instantly like, text.
You've got to tell her.
She was like, you tell her right now, you tell her immediately, this is how you say it, this is how you broach it, this is how you fucking do it, and talked me through it. And I sent it to her. She was incredibly grateful. Obviously freaks out, obviously worried. That's part of the course. She got herself checked out 3 days later. Some tits just have lumps in them. There's muscles. Like it's so completely and utterly fucking.
But at least she got to have, like,
absolutely.
Did she discover it the minute you told her about it as well?
Yes, yeah. She knew what I was talking about. And again, I would always want that the other way around. Like, after I've come, don't tell me there's a lump on my balls.
In the throes of passion.
Well, my dick's hard. Like, let's get past it.
There's not much we can do in the seconds between now and then.
Also, make me come and let's see if it goes down. Like, maybe the sperm's just in the wrong bit of my dick at the moment.
It's just sucks off and just asking to taste blood. I once fought with a girl. I was giving her a back massage, and when you're doing the butt cheeks and they come apart, and I just saw a bit of shite. And I was like, oh, no. I just moved on from there. And like, I listening to the girl, that was just a one-time thing. Later on, saw it again, I was like, she couldn't have shut her pants twice. It's just like a kind of beige freckle right at the point next to her butthole. And I went for ages between one moment and the next, thinking that I give her a massage, she fucking had skid marks.
Man, as me 10 years...
It was like a little freckle cluster, just like a smattering of freckles.
Me 10 years ago...
And she would not have known that was there.
100%. Well, how could she?
I don't know if I've got freckles next to me butthole.
You don't.
I did it, man. I did it. That was too quick.
Yeah, you're all good. Here's the thing. 10 years ago, if I thought I'd saw a bit of shit like at her arse, like whether I was massaging it, whether I was about to go in there for a good old fucking lick or whatever, I would have been like, I would have done the fucking teardrop thing of like going in and been like, oh no, straight back up. That's not where we're going. Now, as a father who regularly changes shitty nappies, if I saw a bit of shit on a girl's butt, I'd just go,
just get rid of it.
oh, just get rid of it. You're just doing a favour. Like, what, we're going to embarrass the girl?
Do you know what I did? I was like, fucking 10-1, consolation goal. Save me, Sarah Remen.
Aye. Oh, so to go back to something, my mum.
Oh, yeah, what was the question with that as well?
No. My mum is.
Why is your mum getting involved in this conversation?
My mum and dad are out here just now. They've joined us in Florida. They're going to come to New York. I was talking about it during the podcast today, and my mum was just like, she's like, some episodes I love, some episodes I just cannot fucking listen to, because like neither of you you're both fine hosts, but neither of you are good co-hosts, because none of you are there to keep the other person on track. You'll go off on tangents, I'll go off on tangents. We'll always say we're going to come back to this thing, and we never fucking do. And it drives my mother insane. She finds this podcast unbearable. Still a Patreon though, so she's, a supportive mother. So to go back to one of the many pins we put in there, one of the interesting things about Florida that I did not realize because the reputation of Tampa, like obviously not as bad as the reputation of like fucking Jacksonville or maybe Miami, but like you hear about Florida being like
Jacksonville, Florida.
Absolutely is.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, and that's Florida. We get to Tampa, and I'm talking to the staff at the venue, just talking to like the ushers and stuff pre-show. And I'm like, Tampa seems nice. And she was like, Tampa is nice. And I was like, basically, I'm like, is it? And she was like, it's Southern New York. Yeah. It's everyone here is from New York, and they come down. This is where they do their fucking business. And I was like, okay, so is Orlando the shithole? She goes, no, Orlando is the slums of Disney.
Oh, yeah, the Disney ghetto.
Yeah, the Disney ghetto. Everyone there just works in Disney, and they're not fucking, paid fairly, and they're all part of the fucking thing there. But she was exactly what you said. It's so similar to Texas here, which is the hubs are blue, and the second you get into country town, it's red as fuck. Because I said, Florida's MAGA. In my head, Florida's full fucking MAGA. This is where Mar-a-Lago is. This is where I believe Trump is technically like, I don't know how I don't fully understand their political system, but like he could be from like any fucking state, but he defines him, even though he's New York. Yeah. He runs from Florida, I believe, or something like that.
He knows where his people are.
Yeah. So it's full fucking Trump town. I have, in the drive from here to Tampa and back and the things, I have not seen a single MAGA hat. I have not seen a single fucking Trump thing. I've not encountered anyone on.
There's American flags waving, but I don't think they've got the same stigma attached to them that the Union Jack now has. The Union Jack seems like it's like fucking attached, like racists have attached themselves to it. It really ruined the flag. Because during tournaments, like when I lived in Ashington, I used to put the England flag up on my little veranda for the cars going by and all that.
Them were, yeah.
It's FIFA. There's a fucking international tournament on. Like now I would feel like I was announcing myself as a fucking rotten egg.
Yeah, but if you're to do it in fucking Glasgow.
Yeah, I'm not doing it now.
Man, I would burn down your house. Like,
that was so funny the way Natalie switched.
Yeah.
As soon as England were playing Scotland, because she gets behind England. She really does. She likes the team. She watches the Premier League, so she loves the fucking English footballers. She wants the best for them. As soon as we were playing Scotland, just switched. I was just sat on opposite ends of the couch watching the match. 0-0 was the perfect score.
Good. I'm glad she's still got that in her. That's good. I think lots of Americans who listen to this podcast would, especially in the last 6 years, disagree with you. I think absolutely before, the American flag was not partisan, like it was on one side of the aisle. flew it necessarily more than the other. I think now you would definitely find lots of left-leaning Americans being
a little bit.
They've been like
standoffish with the flag.
They still love their country. They know they know it's flawed. They know it's imperfect. But
I think they would still be patriotic in a way that they'd want their flag back.
Oh, because they.
I'm just like, the flag. Whatever.
They believe in the system. They're Americans now who, despite America going through this tumultuous fucking time, where there are Americans who are not proud of America at this specific moment in time, just in terms of it, but they are absolutely proud of their fucking country because they believe that despite everything going on just now, that that's just part of the system, and they sort of still believe in the system of, you know, the first country to fucking really nail democracy. By the way, and nailed democracy so much that they were able to force it on the rest of the world unsuccessfully. But they were like, you know what? You're getting some democracy, send in the bombs. You're getting some democracy, send in the bombs. Like,
bomb democracy into you.
Absolutely, I'll bomb democracy into you. I feel like, I don't know, that Tampa gig, I did not expect. I don't know about you, but like, just to be a bit fucking personal here, I go through ups and downs with stand-up at this point in time where there's some days I do the show and I'm like, this is great. I'm a good stand-up. Like, you know, the success is still wild to me and it's still hard to process a lot. But there's sometimes when I'm on stage and I'm just smashing a gig that I'm like, oh, no, right, get rid of that imposter syndrome right now. You have earned this, and this is a good fucking show, and you should be proud of it. And then there's just been a couple of shows on the American leg, and I don't want to blame the audience. I'll blame myself and I'll blame my headset because doing the same show for 2.5 years is just difficult. Like if you say the same word over and over again, that word loses all meaning. So as a stand-up, when you do the same joke over and over again, the jokes become less funny, you know, and so you perform them differently, you perform them less. So there's points when, again, translating a show for a Turkish crowd is so different to translating a show for an American crowd. And in those sort of not even in between gigs, they're gigs, but there's times when, you know, I've not performed for 3 weeks, and the last time I performed was in India and in Turkey and in Europe when I was doing that. There's been a couple of shows here where just some bits haven't worked as well, and I've now worked out how to change them up and mix them up. But there were about 3 or 4 shows in a row on this American leg where I was just like, I've just got to be honest with myself and just go, this isn't the best show I've done, which is, you know, hard to come to terms with because you always want to feel like you're getting fucking better. But like standing on stage and just hearing laughs that used to get fucking bigger laughs, and you're like, you know what, performance is important, but like if the jokes don't stand up themselves without the importance, how good are they in the first place?
You know what I've found with American crowds, there's some jokes where I've done, because I mean, fair fucks, because like, the whole thing with me when I'm talking is I'm like super authentic. You can tell that what I'm saying is like things from my life. But every now and again I slip a joke in that's so outrageous that it's clearly a joke, right? But it's like the American crowd sometimes don't make the switch in their head that that's a joke and what you've said is authentic, and they'll let out like a real groan. And you're like, don't groan, it makes it look like that's actually what I did think I did do. Like, you're meant to laugh at the bits that are clearly a joke. Okay, this is what really happened. And then I've had to put footprints around stuff that's clearly a joke because they've took everything authentically because I'm being authentic. And then when I do something that's clearly a joke, they've took that authentically too. And I'm like, I have to go, oh wait, no guys.
Yeah.
Nah. Do I have to tell you where the jokes are?
I've had 3 points on the American tour so far. For those of you who haven't seen the show yet, this isn't a fucking spoiler, but like a large portion of the show was about Kara's pregnancy and birth, and the routine was written, and it is performed in the style of is I'm going to thoroughly, with my tongue in cheek, hint or imply that like, and only for 3 minutes, I'm going to imply that childbirth and pregnancy is worse for men because that's such an outrageous fucking point. The best comedy I love is what Bill Burr used to do. He would say something everyone would disagree with, and nobody would enjoy it. And then he would slowly bring everyone over to that side by arguing these points and putting it through certain
Thought
fucking
experiment.
Yeah. And you go, what I'm saying is wrong, but I can make it sound right. And that is the skill of stand-up, is I'm going to say something awful that we all agree is wrong. But
I know I'm wrong, but look at it from this point of view.
But yes, I'm going to frame it in such a specific way that from this angle it seems right. And in every other part of the world, when I'm doing this stuff so thoroughly, I've got the line in the show, I'm like, pregnancy and childbirth is really hard for men. Is it worse for women, right? And I jokingly weigh my hands up, because obviously it's worse for women. And if the audience were to give me 2 more seconds of grace, they would allow me to get to the punchline, which is me going, of course it's worse for women, of course. And then I'm on my next point. There are women here screaming, being like, it is worse for women. And I'm like, I know. This is all done through the lens of irony. This is all done. This is me being the bad guy so that we can all laugh at the bad guy for having dumb opinions so that we can...
And people actually do have these opinions, and I'm just pretending from their point of view, but then I'm going to put a more intellectual slant on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just get like, because they're probably just left like used to that in earnest from so many men, that hearing it ironically from a man is just like received as earnest.
Well, excellent point, because that was one of the big problems that we had at the Istanbul shows, right? Which is like, when I'm doing all this stuff, when I'm making fun of women in this point, like, in the rest of the world, in the UK, where feminism is not as far as it fucking needs, but man, it's doing fucking numbers. It's doing like well. I know it's not perfect, but compared to the rest of the world, it's decent. The fight's still ongoing. Blah blah blah. That joke works in the UK, it works in Sweden, it works in Norway, it works in places where feminism and women are more on par with men. But when I'm doing those jokes in India, and when I'm doing those jokes in Turkey, in places where being a woman is objectively fucking harder, where domestic abuse in those countries is through the roof, where sexual assault is through the fucking roof, where
everything's a bit too real.
Oh yeah,
it's not abstract.
It's
common.
So in my head, like normally when I'm doing the like pregnancy's harder for men, obviously it's through the scope of irony, but it's also through the scope of irony, I'm punching sideways, right? As somebody that stands up for women and makes all these points, part of equality is I'm going to treat you the same way I treat men, which is by insulting you all the fucking time, because that is what equality is. I guess it just didn't feel that way as much.
Yeah, it was too raw, wasn't ready.
Yeah, there was still too much
progress to be made before you could be progressive at that kind of level.
And you know, I mean, you know, I wish we'd known that before we fucking filmed it there, and you know, it's something that I certainly learned from India. But I guess, man, it's just one of the challenges of the privilege of being an international comic, I guess. Is just trying to
sometimes find out the hard way. Yes, and we're about to do our first gig in Orlando. Like in a minute, actually, we should probably wrap this up and get sorted for the gig.
To everyone in the States that's come out to the show so far, thank you so much. Despite me sort of saying that I didn't necessarily like fully enjoy certain ones, please understand.
Not the one you were, that one was great.
Please understand, it's all in my head, right? There's just I have more shows to compare it to than you do. When you see my show, you're seeing it for the first or sometimes second, maybe even third time. I'm hearing it for the 250th time. And
you know what the highs are, you know what the lows are, and you always place the show that you've currently done somewhere between the highest and the lowest. And if it's down there, they don't know that. That was the best show they've seen. But for you, not even in the top 100.
Yeah.
So that's the bit where you have to walk off. And often them shows, you'll get on your Instagram after and your inbox will be full of compliments and stuff. And like you'd never go, oh, you know what, I didn't feel on point today. Always just go, thank you. I had a lovely time.
In fucking Wisconsin, right? It was a good gig. It was a great gig. There was one guy in the fucking front row who just didn't enjoy any of it. Like, and occasionally I'd look down to see, after like a big laugh in the crowd, and I'd look down to see if this guy was still fucking enjoying it, and he'd be like looking away, he'd be fucking looking down, his arms were crossed, and I just can't get him out of my eye line. And I'm just like, this is going bad.
Because you can't see much, but you can see the front row.
And I'm like,
so it's hard to not isolate them.
And I'm like, if somebody in the front row isn't laughing, that means people in the 5th row, 10th row, 30th row.
Yeah, you're a big cross section of this crowd right now.
Yeah, they're also not.
If I could see 10 people and you're one of them, I feel like there's 10% of the audience that are feeling the same as you.
100%. Cam was at the meet and greet.
And he had a lovely time.
It's the time of his fucking life. Because here's the other thing, and I should know this as somebody that when I watch live stand-up, I don't laugh all the time. I don't laugh out loud all the time. No. So much time when I'm watching stand-up, I'm enjoying it in my head, but I'm just watching it. I'm just...
Oh, yeah. There's just a smile on your face sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes just like looking at it analytically.
Oh, also, if I was in the front row of a comedy show and there was a big laugh and the comedian looked at me, I'd go, don't fucking look at me.
Yeah.
like I get it.
Wait, give me my anonymity, please.
But yeah, that was just another one of those moments where for 90 minutes, I was like, you didn't do a great job there. Even though 99% of the audience from the sound really audibly enjoyed the gig, but visually that man didn't. That must have been a bad gig. And then for this man to be like, hey man, I thought you were brilliant. It's a pleasure to meet you. Your work means so much to me. I'm like, I'm just a bad judge, I think, sometimes. Uh-huh. Sometimes I feel about my stand-up the same way that I feel about Cara and her looks. Like, Cara, if Cara doesn't feel beautiful, then there's no convincing her that she is. If she's not in a sexy mood, if she's not...
And she thinks if you're telling her she's beautiful, she thinks you're lying to make her feel better.
100%.
And that's not helping.
And it's not that case at all. Whereas I am the exact same hypocrite when it comes to my stand-up. I'll come off show and she'll be like, that was a great show. And I'm like, oh, shit. It was awful. It was crap.
You wouldn't say that though, right?
I'd say it to her.
No, yeah, you'd say it to me, you'd say it to Gordon, but you wouldn't say it to an audience member.
No,
never. Said it was good. Because I've seen comics do that where they've been complimented and then they've denied the compliment and then like made an excuse, not made an excuse up, but said like, oh, I didn't feel like I was on my best form tonight or whatever. And I'm always looking at them just going, oh, come on, you rookie, like just give them it. Let them have it. That's their experience. Don't take their experience away from them, man. We do need to wrap up though.
Aye.
So thanks for coming to the shows, and I'll see you at the shows you're going to come to. Also, I've got a tour coming up in the UK. We will be bringing it to Europe. Hopefully, one day we might be able to do America, but that's like visa situation. But I'm definitely doing stuff in the UK that's online now. You can get them off like my links in the bio on my Instagram. I'll go to my website. Oh shit, I haven't updated my website.
I have updated my website. If you're in America, you can now join capitalism and buy my merch. For European, Australian and UK people, merch will be made available to you at some point. This was us dipping our toe in the water, finding out how comfortable I am with it, and it will be available at points for you.
And if you're listening to this on Spotify or any of the public channels, think about subscribing to our Patreon. It's only £3 and you get twice as many episodes.
Yeah.
Bye.